Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Live at the Waterhole. And welcome to the weekend. What a fabulous start here. Beautiful scene of these white rhinos at Mantis Founders Lodge in the Eastern Cape. My name is Kelly. I'm going to be with you for the next 2 hours. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, or this evening, or this morning, depending on where you are in the world. And look at this little guy. Really getting down there in the mud. So please do remember, we are live and interactive today. Ooh, there's another rhino joining from the back there. Please send through all your questions, any of your comments. We will get through as many of them as we can. Send your questions to wildearth.tv/questions, or you can scan the QR code you can see on your screens. I love all your questions. Really gets my brain going. You can join the conversation on X using #WildEarth, or again scan the QR code you can see there just at the bottom of this rhino's elbow, and this little one is having a good scratch there. You can also send your questions and comments via WhatsApp on +277 78 630 2336 if you would prefer. Lovely to see these white rhinos enjoying this beautiful muddy pan. Still plenty of mud for them to wallow in, coating their skin, helping with management of parasites, acting like a sunscreen. And you can see this female is covered in mud. It is super funny to see rhinos when they are fully caking themselves like this. They roll like a horse, and those little short legs waving around in the air. It's how they get those back hard to reach parts also covered in mud. Erica Oldno, sorry, apologies Erica. Hi, thank you so much for joining us today. Greetings from a rainy Cape Town today. Your favourite animal is rhinos. They are fabulous to watch. And rainy Cape Town, we also have had a couple of little spots here in the Lowfell. Sun's broken through again now. Oh, and wow, there's plenty of rhinos here today. Does my bum look big in this mud? Absolutely it does. Deb Davis, hi. Thank you for joining. Nice to be with you too, Deb. Thank you so much for checking in. Always a pleasure. Penelope Kenyon, hello, hello, hello. Hello Kelly, Zoomies, Wild Earth, and Chatters. Hello everyone in the Chatters. Enjoy all the wonderful sightings and sounds. Absolutely, Penelope Kenyon, I fully intend to. And Joanne Mello, happy Saturday, Wild Earth and Kelly. Back at you, Joanne Mello. Thank you so much for joining us here at Mantis Founders Lodge with a plethora of rhino here today. Catherine, hi Kelly and Mika, great start with all the rhinos. Indeed it is, Catherine. You can't go wrong with rhinos in a puddle. It's always been my, well, it's my main mission all the time. But I know I've done a good job if I do ever come across a rhino wallowing like this and they don't stand up. That is my objective as a guide. It's not easy to get these bulks up and down, and I would hate to disturb these guys while they're enjoying their spa time. It's not always possible. You do literally never know what's around the corner, and it has happened to me several times. You appear around a corner, look at this guy, loving that mud. It's creating a tide line. You come around a corner and you didn't know there was a pan there and a rhino jumps up and everyone gets a fright. And I always feel absolutely dreadful doing that. And I will always back off a bit, and with any luck that rhino will lay back down in the mud. It's always a mission with especially the young impalas in lambing season with the impalas. They form these little creches, and I always feel terrible if I have to drive past them and make them stand up. Who on earth am I to make these animals do anything that they wouldn't otherwise be doing? And it's one of the reasons I really do enjoy these cameras, because we are having zero impact on these animals, even if it's not necessarily negative. It's just not my place to play any sort of role in these animals' lives. They're there vibing, and I must be as inconsequential as possible. Jive Bunny, always like to hear about my experiences. Thank you very much. There certainly have been a few over the years. I've been very fortunate too. I did my training back in 2011, and I spent quite a long time guiding full time. So I've certainly been very fortunate, Jive Bunny, and I have had some amazing moments over the years.
Chidzana na tsima ra ntumbuluko Dzovukazi ya xitsundzuxo hosi ya rhumela.
How cool is this?
춤추고 어사흉내라
April 13 marks the beginning of something powerful. Wildrith is launching a special fundraiser
at top speed that you are really able to appreciate just how athletic they can be. Ants, you're saying they seem to enjoy the mud? They do indeed enjoy the mud. It feels so nice on their skin, and it will help manage any skin irritations or little bitey things they've got. And, ew, you're drinking that, boy? Probably wouldn't be my first choice, but what do I know? He looks completely black, that tide line where he's wet. Ants, you're asking what percentage of rhinos keep their horns and who makes that decision? Is it a local government decision? It depends, Ants. It depends where the animals are, the risk in the area, funding available for possible dehorning operations. So there's a huge it depends, but it's normally technically sort of the owners of the animals or whoever is responsible for the care of those animals. So if they were in a government reserve, it would be the decision of those. If they're in a sandparks reserve, it would be sandparks, or any other reserve. So if the animals are in the Sabi Sands, it would be down to the reserve management of that area whether or not they would choose to remove horns. They would normally take it on advice of ecologists or possibly vets, finding out if it would have any impact on the dynamic of the rhinos in the local area. There's lots of it depends in the ants. So yeah, it depends wildly. Penelope Kenyon, a caramel chocolate coated baby rhino. That is a really nice description actually. That's exactly what this big boy looks like as well. He's getting a good covering, and I actually saw a picture a couple of hours ago online of an elephant in a tosha, and it was almost pure white. Just goes to show how, we've got a little passenger. Hello, little passenger. Little red-billed oxpecker by the looks of it. And that skin, that body is absolutely like iron. There's no poke, there's no prod, there's no squish in that body whatsoever. You would think there might be a bit of give in it, but I have had the fortune of touching rhinos on several occasions, and they are solid. That little oxpecker looking to maybe get in the ear there. Black rhinos have much hairier ears. I don't know if anyone's ever noticed that. Next time you see a black rhino, have a look at their little ears, and you will see there's a lot more hair coverage on there. That is a well-covered rhino. Alex, you're asking, would rhinos still attack in the same way despite having no horn? Pretty much. They would normally, if they were going to take on a challenge of some description, they would normally do it front on, which is where the horn would have been if it had been removed. It was quite distressing. I saw a rhino who had been dehorned, and he was going through the motions of doing what he would have done if he had a horn. He was scratching on something or like waving his head around in front of a rubbing post, which was very sad to see. But yeah, pretty much. I don't think they would sort of go, oh, I've got no horn, so I'm going to rather try kicking or something different. So Alex, I think it's going to be pretty similar to if they still had a horn. And it's kind of fun sliding about in the mud, I have to say. Yeah, it does look like a great way to spend a Saturday afternoon, especially if it's warm and especially if you've got itchy bits you can't quite reach. Ants, it's a pleasure. Yeah, no problem. Lots of... I was actually talking to someone yesterday. The longer I'm around and the longer I'm watching things, the less prepared I am to give clear answers on things, because there's so many variables. When we're in guide school and we look at our books and everything weighs this much and everything's pregnant for this long, and this is the behaviour of this animal, until you've got things to compare it to, this is the information you give and you believe. But then you start seeing things and getting a better understanding of things that can make changes to what things eat. And yeah, I'm very non-committal about most things these days, I'm afraid. So I probably didn't answer very well. Did that oxpecker get charged Rhino Uber fare? Yes, it did. It has to pay extra for the water aspect of the trip. Erica, oh no, you like the way I think. I feel the same about disturbing animals. Erica, it's really important to me, and I feel really bad if... Who am I to make these animals do anything they wouldn't otherwise be doing? Even to the point of... it depends on the situation. But they shouldn't have to walk around me. They shouldn't read. They shouldn't have to listen to me. They shouldn't have to look at me. They shouldn't have to do anything. And the way I see it, if, even if it's not necessarily if I don't frighten them or something like that, if they're giving me their attention, they're using up attention that they should maybe be using on keeping an eye out for predators, or if they've lifted their head to stop feeding to see where I am or what I'm doing, that's time they should be feeding. I have zero clout or right to have any impact on their life, in my opinion. It's almost impossible not to. It's always a tough call, whether we do have game drives in areas or anything else. If we're there, then look, this is what I was saying earlier. Look how this rhino's putting this rock in right under that belly there. Excellent spatial awareness these animals have. They know exactly where to put those rocks and placements. Audrey, thank you for your message. You're saying good morning, Wild Earth. My nephew took these very tiny eggs from a nest I was watching. How do I save these babies from freezing to death? You don't have an incubator. The best thing I would say to put them back. Or contact a wildlife rehabilitation place, but we really shouldn't be touching or taking eggs from nests. So I would probably put them straight back if possible, or contact a wildlife rehabilitation sanctuary. But thank you for asking. There's lots of misnomers and myths around how we should handle wildlife, or not. We should not handle wildlife is the short version to that in any way, shape or form. People often, they will find birds and things like this and they will try and feed them. I have no idea how to care for wildlife. I do not claim to know anything, and I will refer out the same as with a dog. If I'm looking at behaviour, I understand dog behaviour, but often I will refer to a vet to look for health things. I don't know anything about how to care for wildlife, so I will refer, either don't do anything at all or refer straight back to a wildlife rehab specialist. Mercedes Bean or Beanie. Greetings, Wild Earth crew and chatters. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you too, Mercedes. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Currently at Mantis Founders Lodge in the Eastern Cape watching this. There's actually a few here. This is a female and her youngster. They've had a lovely wallow. They've had a lovely scratch. Now looks like she's maybe waited for the mud to settle. Have a good long drink there. Alex, you've been watching Wild Earth for 3 years and never seen a rhino attack anything. It doesn't happen often, Alex. It's really good that you haven't seen rhinos attacking anything while you've been watching Wild Earth, because that means Wild Earth are doing it right. When I first started in this industry, I used to say that almost any mishap or incident was the fault of humans. And you've just seen a random zebra in the back there. I missed that, so thanks for helping me there. I used to say it was almost always the fault of humans if there were incidents or anything like that. I've since changed my percentage a little bit. Stuff does sometimes just happen, and there's not much you can do about it. Wrong time, wrong place. But you can do things to mitigate incidents happening. And as I've said lots of times before, Alex, animals have enough problems out here without attacking things or trying to kill each other or anything else. They all just want to vibe. They just want to get on with their lives. They want to eat their food. They want to make the babies, drink the water. They don't have any... that's it. They're pretty simple. And if they can get away with their life things without attacking anything, they will certainly do so. We can take a leaf out of their books maybe. Erica, you believe animals are individuals just like...
Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? Wild Earth Travel's newsletter is your passport to a magical journey. Explore exclusive travel options featuring special offers at stunning Wild Earth locations and all hosted by your favorite presenters. Don't miss out. Head over to our website and subscribe to the Wild Earth Travel newsletter today and stay in the know on all our unforgettable adventures. Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
Very clear colour split as well. That's a lovely image. Hi, Diane from Cape Town. How do rhino drink the water? Lick or suck? They suck. If you see, they put their heads, they put that big wide flat mouth on the top of the water, and they just suck. Wow, he's. I think this rhino's done this many times before on this particular rock. But yes, they suck, Diane. But that's a really good question. I'm now quickly. I'm now scooting through my head to think what animals lick and what animals suck. I know cats and dogs lick. I'm just trying to think what else would lick water. Please, anyone help me out. I'm going through my repertoire of animals in my head, and I'm just trying to think what else I've seen licking water as opposed to sucking it. Please send in if you can think of anyone other than cats and dogs, or canines and felines, that would lick water. And Jive Bunny got a scratch an inch. This boy is definitely getting right in there. Very deliberate, getting all those hard to reach places. Who else? I know monkeys and baboons, they suck. Antelopes suck. I think most animals apart from felines and canines would suck water. But you've got my brain going now, Diane. Thank you. You've really got me thinking about if any other animals or lap. Honey badger? What would a honey badger do? I haven't spent enough time with honey badgers to. I've never seen a honey badger drink. Would they? Lizards? Yes. Lizards. Do they lick water up? I know they lick. They lick their eyes, and they use their tongue to catch stuff. Have I ever seen a lizard having a drink? I don't think I have. I'm having a look in this reference book. I'm just scanning down the animals to see who else might lap water. Alrighty, let's leave this boy certainly doing an excellent job of scratching in all those hard to reach places. And let's go across to Vic Falls. I think it's nearly vulture lunchtime. I'm not exactly sure what time vulture lunchtime is, but there's certainly a gathering here already. I know lizards, I'm thinking about how lizards drink water now. I know they do sometimes sort of absorb water. Let's see how many more. I think it's in a 3 or 4 minutes, this actual feeding time here at Vic Falls Safari Lodge. Let's see how many more vultures arrive compared to here. I mean, I'm not going to do head counts on all of them, but well, there must be 15 here now. I've got no idea how many are sitting up high up in the trees there. Erica, mongoose maybe lick water? I was just thinking sort of honey badger mongoose, those Mustelidae and Viveridae families, they're sort of a little bit canine-y, feline-y features, maybe they would. Lady Macbeth, we are indeed at Vic Falls. Excellent, I agree. It is pretty crazy when this feeding happens. I can't freeze my feed. I don't know if anyone else can freeze their feed, but at the moment they release that food. I would love to get a freeze and try and do a head count, but I'm not even going to try. But they're certainly coming in. Catherine, that is a very valid point. It depends on how their mouths are set up. If their lips go further back to make use of the carnassial sear, they can't close it tight enough to create a vacuum to suck up the water. That is a very good point. Now you've got me thinking, who has got that carnassial shear? I've never seen inside a mongoose's mouth. Wow, the rabbit hole of one simple question, asking how a rhino drinks. I could spend hours disappearing down this who licks and who sucks water rabbit hole. I'm going to do some homework, I think, and I'm going to try and find out. Let me make a note of my homework, otherwise I forget. What other animals lap water? There we go. That's some homework for me. And this is why I like you all sending questions in. I've never thought about that before. Someone ready to enjoy the vulture feeding there up in Zimbabwe. I'm also not going to go down the rabbit hole of I'm pretty sure there are Cape vultures in there. There's whitebacks, Cape, hooded. I can't see it. Is this a man coming? It must actually be quite intimidating walking into all those huge birds, because vultures are big, hey? Oh yeah, they're really pouring in now. Look at that. It's amazing how you can it's possible to condition animals. And even, in some areas where the bigger animals are fed, these vultures know there's food coming. It's really not difficult to elicit a conditioned emotional response in animals, either positive or negative. Lady Macbeth, gotta love a rabbit hole. Yeah, I spent a lot of time. Oh, and the tangents they can take. Yours was animal eyesight. I've been down, but the trouble is, Lady Macbeth, I don't know how good you are at retaining the information, but I can spend hours, and I go from does a rhino lick or suck through carnassial shears, through teeth formation through where does a tooth actually come from, and then how does it become a tooth? Like, do cells change into a tooth, and then cell division, and what creates that tooth, and blast cells or whatever it is, I can't even remember. And then I finish reading, and then I go, and then I've forgotten it all again. So I don't know if you have a better way to remember all these rabbit holes we learn so much about, how to retain that information. It would be great.
Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? Wild Earth Travel's newsletter is your passport to a magical journey. Explore exclusive travel options featuring special offers at stunning Wild Earth locations, and all hosted by your favorite presenters. Don't miss out. Head over to our website and subscribe to the Wild Earth Travel newsletter today and stay in the know on all our unforgettable adventures. Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
This is brave man doing this brave thing. I'm not even going to try and count these vultures. I'm not even going to try. That is insane. That's just like a seething, swarming sea of feathers. A bubbling cauldron of pointy beaks and massive wings. Ants, they must wear watches to know what time to land. You'd think so, hey? But it's amazing how animals use air pressure and scent and all sorts of things to work out what the time is. Anyone with a dog? They normally have dinner at 5 o'clock. You won't need to watch to know when it's 5 o'clock. Erica, I also need at least 10 brains to remember everything I want, and not enough time and brain power. I'm with you there. I know some people that do this show have a fantastic retention for remembering facts and figures. I'm not really one of those people. I have to work very, very hard to make information stick. Repetition. So yeah, if you can do it, there's there's memory techniques that can help. I actually looked at, I can't remember what it was something online the other day. I was going to do a memory course, but the only way, when I studied for all my guiding exams, I think for my level 3 exam, that was 2018, I think I wrote my Fagasa level 3 exam. I actually took study leave from work and I borrowed a friend's house, and I basically locked myself in a house for 3 weeks. And I had post-it notes on the walls, and I had things written on mirrors, and I had acronyms and all sorts of things. Whether or not I retained that information very well, I'm not sure. But it's the same. I find it's the same as anything, Alex. If you don't use it, you lose it. Same with languages, facts and figures. I know Ben is brilliant at retaining information that he reads. Lady Macbeth, eyesight is complex. I actually went to a talk a good couple of years ago now about eyesight in general. It started with all eyesight and how it works, and it is absolutely fascinating. And the only way, I agree, if I just look at things online or read them online, I can't retain that. I can remember sort of the gist of stories of articles I've read. But if I really want facts and numbers and stuff, I have to rewrite them out as well. I agree, Lady Macbeth, it's all about taking notes and using those notes to help you retain the information. Alex, people learning 3 ways: audio, visual and kinesthetic, meaning with 3D models. I've never heard that word before in my life, kinesthetic. 3D models. I've not heard of that before, and most people will use a combination of 2 of those techniques. Alex, mine is repetition, and even I found when I was out of the country for a while, even my bird calls get rusty. They come back, but you almost have to sort of dig around in the memory vaults there to get them back up to the forefront. These vultures actually make quite short work of whatever they're being fed. There's a bit of squabbling going on. And so I'm sure they used the opportunity to discuss the local news with each other. I'm sure. What have you seen flying around? Had any good snacks lately, Dave? Anson, I agree. I also imagine a lot of them didn't get any. Oh, Dolphin, you're saying mongoose lap and hyena lick. Right, yes, I know hyena, also they will lap water. Interesting you say mongoose, so that was one of the things I thought could be a possibility, but I've made notes of it for homework. I'm definitely gonna do a bit more research, but yeah, I have a feeling I'm going to end up down a very deep rabbit hole. But it's brilliant though, isn't it? Isn't it wonderful? And how lucky we are that, that's philosophical. I was going to say how lucky we are to be able to access all of this information these days. But is it too easy? Maybe. Exactly as I just said, I'm guilty of it myself. You find something online and you read it and you go, that's interesting. And then you move on to the next thing without, maybe I've actually got a lot of books, and I like my books. I've got lots of guiding books, I've got lots of textbooks, I've got lots of reference books, and I've also got lots of behaviour books, canine books, and I like them all a lot. I've got some neuroscience books, effective neuroscience books. I really like having books, they really work for me, and I'm not going to be that person that ends up with no books and just uses online. There's something a bit different about actually going over there and picking up a book and finding that information. I do have my my bird book of Sub-Saharan Africa accessible today, because I have been in situations a couple of times in Kenya when I've been doing these shows and I haven't got a clue what those birds are, so I do at least have my gigantic Birds of Sub-Saharan Africa book with me today. There's definitely hooded vultures in there. I see a hooded vulture, Cape vulture. I can't see any. There's a brown one over on the right hand side there, but I can't see any leopard-faced vultures. They're still pecking and squabbling there over any scraps that might be left. Jive Bunny wouldn't want to deal with an angry vulture that didn't get any. No, nor would I. And I would imagine there are a few of them in there that did not get a cut, for want of a better word. Spas, good afternoon, hi. Speaking of eyesight, how good is the eyesight of an African vulture compared to American ones? Okay. Spas, let me dig in my memory banks. And I think, if my memory serves me correctly, I think African vultures, whether or not they've got better eyesight, I don't know. But if my memory serves me correctly, the African vultures are the old world vultures, and they use eyesight, and American vultures are new world vultures, and they find carcasses using scent, I believe. I haven't used that fact for a long time, so please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, Spas. Whether or not they've got I haven't seen a paper on how to, if the eyesight of old world and new world vultures has been like tested one-on-one, but I do think, if my memory is correct, that American vultures use scent and African vultures use sight to find carcasses. Lady Macbeth, happy scavengers. Drinking styles are indeed being demonstrated by vultures. Neither sucking nor lapping. It's more of a scoop, I think. It's sort of, yeah, look, that one on the left. Excellent observation, Lady Macbeth. Scoop and swallow. Scoop and swallow. Scoop and swallow. Huh. And yeah, I suppose you're right. It would all be to do with what's in their mouths. Oh, I'm going to go down a massive animal drinking tangent if I'm not careful. But yeah, that is definitely listed as my homework. And maybe it would also be based on what the animal eats. Because we know birds don't necessarily have big, long, wet streams of urine. They have that uric acid. So maybe they don't require as much water. So they don't need to spend ages sucking. Well, I suppose dogs and cats do, and they don't suck. Oh, you can ponder all day long. That was a super exciting feeding session there. Maybe everyone's. I like watching vultures walk. They've got almost quite a purposeful walk. I think. Oh, look at that one with his wings out. Boink, boink, boink. Come chasing in. That was a very eventful feeding session with these vultures. Let's head across to Tembe Elephant Park, and I have a feeling there may be some elephants present at Tembe Elephant Park. Vultures are actually really fun to watch too. Oh, squabble, squabble. Here's our boys, and was it here? I think it was here. There was the elephant with the two very big rips in his ears, if I remember correctly yesterday. peaceful scene. See, these are definitely sucking when they drink, and also those little ones we've sometimes seen, if they're not quite ready to use their trunks, if they're not quite managing, they just shove their face in the water and suck water up through their mouth. I'm thinking about this vulture eyesight thing now. I'm sure I read those. I can't remember if I read it in an actual peer-reviewed paper or if I saw it online, that there was an experiment. They did an experiment on American vultures, and there was basically a cow carcass, and they covered it up. No. I can't remember which way round it was. I thought I'm going to have to check now. Now I'm doubting myself. I'm sure it was something to do with a cow carcass, and one either old or new world vultures found it when it was covered up, and one of them didn't. But I'm now doubting myself as to which way round it was. But I wanna go and check. I don't just want to look online. I'd like to try and find. I'm sure it was a paper. I'm going to find a proper peer-reviewed paper and double check that as well.
Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? Wild Earth Travel's newsletter is your passport to a magical journey. Explore exclusive travel options featuring special offers at stunning Wild Earth locations, and all hosted by your favorite presenters. Don't miss out. Head over to our website and subscribe to the Wild Earth Travel newsletter today and stay in the know on all our unforgettable adventures. Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
Maybe if they do have a different feather structure and they are able to cool themselves better than a lot of other birds, maybe that would in turn mean that because they're more active or are able to be more active in hot weather, they do indeed need more water. So they suck water as opposed to scooping and swallowing. That might make sense. That was literally just my stream of consciousness there. But that would make sense, Erica, if that is indeed the case, so thanks for that. What are these boys doing over there? It looks like they're having a little meeting about something. Is he going to get involved? Is there another little pan over there? Oh no, that's the other side of the pan, isn't it? With water lilies or something there on the water. Maybe that's the... What are they doing over there? Have they gone over to the... There's like a little embankment in the middle there that splits the two pans. I've never noticed this big area of water over here before. We usually watch the one on the right hand side. Are they drinking? This pooping elephant is blocking the view somewhat. Ants, a pachyderm meeting, indeed. I'm sure they're talking about very important pachyderm matters. I'm just trying to work out what they're doing over there. Are they just drinking somewhere different? I haven't seen them drinking. Interesting. Spas, you're asking, do elephants dig to create waterholes here at Tembe? Is that why they see woolly neck storks and other animals coming to this area? I don't think so. I think you will see. I don't think the woolly neck storks and everyone else only comes here because of the elephants. I'm sure they would be present. I do think it's the elephants that have made these little separate pans though on the other side of the dam there. What are they doing? Spas, I do think they've made those little separate muddy puddles, which is a great strategy because they can all have their own little mud hole. But I don't necessarily think it's... Are they scooping? It looks like they're eating something. Are they eating that green stuff out of the water? It looks like they're feeding. It looks like they've got a secret snack there that they don't want to share with us. Spas, I think the woolly neck storks frequent areas even without those little separate elephant mud wallows, personally. It looks like they're feeding. And I can't see if they're feeding on stuff, that green stuff that's down in the water, or something else there. It did look like they were reaching down into those, I've got no idea what those plants were in there, water lilies or something. Because they're not throwing water or sand on themselves. And if there is a little geological hotspot or something there, I would possibly expect to see them like kicking a little bit, trying to loosen soil if they were trying to get some minerals or something from a specific mineral hotspot. But maybe they're feeding on those water lilies. I don't think I've ever seen an there's a big bull that often used to go right up to the lodge at Tau, and he would munch on stuff in the water, but whether or not, if there was something good in there though, wouldn't they just go in? I suppose we don't know how deep it is, do we? I don't know what they're doing. They probably would eat water lilies. I'm just wondering if I've ever seen them do it. I suppose they'd be quite delicious, those water lilies. If they're not, toxic or anything. Rather than the bark and often dry stuff that elephants crunch their way through. These are like little juicy sweeties. He's definitely feeding, but I can't see what on. Oh, hold on, there's a bit of foot kicking now. So look, kick with that left foot. Erica, it does look like there's a fairly heavy glut of growth in that water. I was somewhere a couple of days ago and you couldn't see the water, and there was a couple of, we didn't get close enough to actually identify it, but if this has been formally identified as an invasive water lettuce, then I'm happy to go with your info there. And yes, it does look, it looks like they're secretive children planning something naughty. I couldn't tell you what this is here. It could be a number of things, but if you've been watching and this has been formally identified as invasive water lettuce, I mean, it sounds delicious for elephants. Water lettuce sounds succulent and moist, but yeah, maybe it's like a buffet style lunch for them there. They have a bit of grass and then they have a bit of lettuce, and then they will maybe go and dig up some roots from somewhere. Yeah, where I was the other day, we asked someone what is that covering that pan, and I can't remember what they said. It was sort of almost it wasn't water lilies. Well, it wasn't a water lily that I recognised. They were almost looked like little, like sponges or something. And they said it had been transported there on the back of hippos. So I don't know. We didn't actually get a formal, official identification, but there was certainly a dam with lots of green stuff in it. But it would be great if this is an invasive. I mean, I'm sure it can't be brilliant for anything living in there with all that masses of coverage. Obviously finished that bit of snack time. Let's look, invasive water lettuce. It certainly looks about right. Oh, okay. Lady Macbeth, thank you. Tenby had an invasive alien species in the water last year and the elephants were eating. It's probably that. Okay, thank you, Lady Macbeth. Yeah, invasive water lettuce. If there was an invasive there, then that sounds about right. And the elephants were indeed eating it before, so my very long process of elimination was around about right. But it can be hugely problematic, these invasive species getting into water sources. It can affect the water quality, although some water plants improve the water quality. So I'm looking at water lettuce. Are there different species of water lettuce? It's often, I try really hard, but I fail regularly. I try not to use the common names for things because it can get hugely confusing. I know the yellow flowers at Tau, I think I found sort of 8 common names for what those things were. And I'm just trying to work out is water lettuce. Spistia is a genus of aquatic plant in the arum family. I just wonder if this is the only type of water lettuce we have here. Maybe that's what I saw the other day as well. It looked almost slightly rounder, the things I was looking at the other day. This Pistia, Pistia stratoides, looks like it might be the scientific name for the commonly found invasive water lettuce that we are finding in South Africa, originating from South America. Floating seeds dispersed by water. And this, I mean, you can see the coverage on that pan at the back there. It would completely deoxygenate water, and all it would take, I wonder, that's interesting. I wonder if there's ever been that same problem with this pan that's closest to the camera. Can anyone tell me whether or not it was a problem here but it was removed? Because I would imagine if this was an easily transported invasive species, it would only take one of those elephants to chomp on a little bit over in that other dam, and then if a bit stuck to a foot or a trunk or something, transport it across to the dam on the right. But maybe it was a problem and it was cleared. I'm not sure. If anyone could help me out, that would be great. Is he having a drink there, or is he moved on to the mud now? these little personal mud holes are going to start drying up. Ah yes, we're onto the mud section of the afternoon now. It looks like it's time for a nap. Everyone's settling down there in the mud. Kate, you're asking, how do the elephants here react to the lions that visit every now and again? I've never seen these elephants with lions. I would guess they would react in the same way that elephants normally do with lions. If anyone knows differently, please let me know. And again, it depends on that. It depends on who the lions are, what they're doing, who the elephants are. If it's a breeding herd with little ones, they often prompt fairly aggressive responses toward lions. They will chase them. Especially if there's youngsters in a group of elephants, if there's baby elephants, it takes a brave lion to hunt an elephant. But little ones can sometimes be at risk. They would have to get through mums. I've seen big bulls almost ignore a single sleeping lion. But again, if that bull has just had an argument with another elephant, or he got fright from the lion, then he might chase them. But I've seen elephants and lions, especially male elephants, or big elephants, feeding or hanging around drinking sort of 40-50 meters from lions. The lions will definitely move if they feel under any threat.
Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? Wild Earth Travel's newsletter is your passport to a magical journey. Explore exclusive travel options featuring special offers at stunning Wild Earth locations and all hosted by your favorite presenters. Don't miss out. Head over to our website and subscribe to the Wild Earth Travel newsletter today and stay in the know on all our unforgettable adventures. Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
We're staying here with Mr. Tembe elephants. We are back at Founders with these beautiful rhino. Check both those animals' tails there. That little piggy tails, and these tails, as we've said, lots of body language, communication between these animals. And those tails, not necessarily always meaning the same thing. See, I can't tell you exactly what this rhino is feeling due to the fact their tail is curled up like that. But they are signals of emotion, in my opinion. Same as dogs. A wagging tail does not mean a friendly dog. I've spent probably more time watching dogs' tails than rhinos, if I'm completely honest. But I'm certainly starting to take more and more notice of body language of lots of these African wildlife now. But it can also be quite difficult. We can't, if we're watching a dog or a cat or a companion animal, if an animal's feeling uncomfortable, we can change the environment quite easily. But if you're watching an elephant from a distance, I'm not going to start going closer and further away from an elephant just to elicit reactions. It's much easier to change an environment around companion animals than it is these rhinos, but it's definitely very obvious that slight shifts in body language are very not symptomatic of emotion, but they will definitely give us cues and clues as to how these animals are feeling. Okay, well, those rhinos have headed on out. Let's head over to delightful Stony Point and have a look at my confusing cormorants, my disgruntled dussies, and parental penguins. Happy Saturday, Dussie. I would love to know how many dussies are actually in this colony here at Stony Point. I know they do live in family groups. And I think colonies I've watched families of dussies between 10 and 20 animals, but as usual it depends on family dynamics and resources. And I think I once read somewhere that it's going to be down to resource, because I don't think dussies leave, unless my memory is incorrect. I know things like zebras or lions, adult animals will move away from groups to create new herds and new families and new prides. Same with elephants. But I don't think dussies leave their colony. Okay. My resources have just told me I am wrong. and that young male dussies do indeed leave their nodal colony to form new ones. I did not know that. It would make sense, and it's why I was quite surprised that they didn't, because that's how genetics work. You send genetics out into the ether, and that's how family lines continue. What made me think that then? But no, this is now saying that the young males are forced to leave home, so not dissimilar to elephant groups. To be honest, I don't know vast amounts about Dussie family structure, because in Madikwe there was a lodge round the corner that used to get Dussies in the garden. I've never really spent lots and lots of time observing them. Okay. Family size can range between 4 and 80 individuals. Right, okay, that's quite a broad split. But again, as we always say, it depends on resources, food availability. If there's lots of food, then those numbers are going to increase. Okay, this also said that Dussies could be known as rock rabbits. I've never heard that. This is no way I would call a Dussie any sort of rock rabbit or a coney.
Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? Wild Earth Travels newsletter is your passport to a magical journey. Explore exclusive travel options featuring special offers at stunning Wild Earth locations and all hosted by your favorite presenters. Don't miss out. Head over to our website and subscribe to the Wild Earth Travel newsletter today and stay in the know on all our unforgettable adventures. Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
One of their tusks is turned. Look how splayed those tusks are. There used to actually be a female elephant when I was working there. She also had quite a skewed tusk. I've got no idea if this would be the same female or not. But often these different growth patterns in elephants can be genetic, the same as big thick tusks or long tusks can be. Slight oddities in tusk formation can also be genetic. And the female, I remember, could be a little bit tricky. We used to give her quite a lot of space. We would recognise her because of those tusks. And if she was at one of the gates, we would go around to the other one. Ah, look at this little chappie. Oh, he's had a good sit down in that mud there. You can really see the nice orderly fashions that these elephants form. They will go here, they'll have a little drink, then matriarch will say, nope, it's time to move on. What's that little one doing? Is he having a scratch or is he having a poop? They orderly make their way around to the other side of that waterhole. That water's dropping quickly. You do sometimes see these herds getting I've normally noticed if there's sort of teenage boys, they will straggle a little bit, they lose step with some of the others. Who else have we got over here on there? So around the edge we've got some impalas, we've got some zebras here as well. Lots of activity here. Have we got any birds along the edge here today? We often see a grey heron here. Let's hop over to Tembe. I would love to see, I'd like to actually see if these two boys have moved. Let's go across to Tembe Elephant Park and see if our two boys that were there in the mud have taken additional act. Okay, one of them's left. One of them has left, one of them has not. I think this might be the smaller one of the two that was here. It's all so orderly. These animals, they just have an understanding of how things work. Welcome anyone that's joined us to catch the tail end of this afternoon's show. Welcome. We are here at Tenby Elephant Park, watching an elephant enjoy this muddy puddle. A little bit of chill time. What are you doing? That was that was very elegant. It's actually amazing how well these elephants can navigate difficult terrain. They often choose not to. I was reading a paper with someone the other day, and it was about, I think it was based on elephant foot structure, and the paper was discussing how and we ended up saying, that's pretty common sense, how elephants choose to not traverse sharp rocks, and if they are navigating difficult terrain, they will move more slowly. And we thought, that's not massive science revelations there, because elephants do have quite sensitive feet, but it's amazing how they can engage diff and four-wheel drive and make their way up quite steep slopes. And I've often seen elephants feeding further up koppies or little hills, mountains than one would expect to find an elephant. It's quite cool here at Tenby as well today. There's some lovely cool weather coming. These brutal summer temperatures finally starting to abate a little bit. So our final elephant has left his individual muddy puddle here at Tenby. So let's have a look and see how we are getting on there at Tau. Lovely scenes here at Tau. I'm not sure if there is anyone there at the moment. I'm sure there probably is. It's about lunchtime. But what a joy to be able to sit and enjoy your lunch watching these animals come and go at Tau Game Lodge. As I'm sure most of you know, I actually worked at Tau for three and a half years, and I was fortunate enough to be able to bring my mum to visit from England, and I was quite offended, to be honest, but she actually quite often used to skip game drives, especially afternoon drives, and she would just sit and watch. She would sit on the balcony, she would get someone to bring her a nice pot of tea, and while everyone else went out on afternoon drives, she would sit and read. And she used to say, every time I look up I'll read a paragraph, and then every time I look up from my book, the scenery has changed again. And she's quite right. These animals move often between pans. They will make their way round, and even she knows. She said, "Oh, these elephants, they come and they have a drink of water here, and then they move on to here to have a splash in the mud, and then they move around to here to cover themselves with sand." I remember, I think once someone arrived and they said, "Oh, there are televisions in the rooms," and there are not televisions in the rooms, and nor should they be. In any safari lodge, I would be horrified when you can sit and watch bush TV the whole day. Who would need to watch a litany? Oh, hello, crocodile. I didn't see you there. Thanks for zooming in. And see how close this crocodile is to this elephant. Just in the crocodile, just like I did. See that crocodile? That elephant isn't food. And everyone just respectfully gave everyone else space to carry on about their day. I wonder if any of these other elephants is going to have any reaction to this crocodile. Thank you, Erica. Erica Oldno, you remember me talking about my mum on a drive. She sounded like a lovely person. She was phenomenal, my mum. I lost my mum in 2019. It was very sad, but she did come out many times. She got some good trips out of me. And I was always very fortunate to be able to take her to the lodges I was working at. She had an absolute blast, and yeah, it used to make me laugh. People would say, "Is your mum going out on drive?" It's like, no, she doesn't want to. She's just going to sit in the lodge and read her book. She made great friends with the trackers as well. When I was at a lodge in the Sabi Sands, she wouldn't talk to me. She'd just go and sit outside and chat to all the trackers. But yeah, it was wonderful to be able to take my mum on so many cool experiences. I've actually been fortunate to have a few friends visit me from England. I've got another very good friend coming out in June, actually, for a visit. Very good friend of mine. Hello, Catherine, if you're listening. But I've been very fortunate for an old school friend of mine who I've known since I was about 8 or 9 years old. She was able to come out and actually visited Tau with her husband and 2 boys. I think her boys were sort of 7 and 9 at the time, or something like that. And I grew up with her. We've known each other since we were very young. She was in the year above me at school, and I drove them. We had an amazing, I think she was with us for 4 nights. I had an amazing 4 nights, and I said to her on the last afternoon, I said, "Do you guys want to come and do a bushwalk?" She said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I'll take you." I said, "I can't take the boys; they're too young." And the boys were going to stay at the lodge with a sort of babysitter supervisor, and they said no. I said, "It's fine." She said, "Kelly, I've known you since you were 8. I said, I'm literally qualified to do this." So she was very dubious. "Oh, what are you doing there, Elephant?" But see how this to me looks. It's all very amicable. Jive Bunny elephants entertaining us all the time. They are, and especially when they interact with crocodiles. Leave that chunk alone, Croc. But see, there's no violence here. There's no animosity here. Everyone's just vibing. Everyone just carries on their business. Although elephants can sometimes be a little bit cheeky and chase animals around at water. But what's going on at the back there? Little bit of a kerfuffle. Jive Bunny, yes, Tal looks amazing. Always so much to see on the camera. I bet my mum enjoyed every moment. How sweet. She did indeed. I've actually got a brilliant, I think I've told you this story before, but I've actually got a brilliant photo. I've mentioned it earlier. There was a big elephant that used to come right over to the edge of the lodge to feed. And you can't see him on the cameras, but the rooms run sort of, imagine what you can see now. It's almost if you put your both arms out straight, like you were going to hug someone. The rooms run like that around the edge of the water in a sort of C shape, with the lodge where the camera is, and then the rooms span out on either side. And the first room on the left hand side was very close to the lodge, but it was also very close to the waterhole. It was pretty much on the water, and my mum was in that room, and I managed get a picture of her. This big elephant was feeding. She almost could have leant over and touched the elephant. I did ask her very nicely not to. And I've got a brilliant picture of her somewhere, and it looks like she stood on this elephant's back because it was sort of in line with the decking. I've still got a very special, I've still got a soft spot for Tower Game Lodge, and I've been back several times since I left there working there. I've been up to freelance there a couple of times. I spent some time at a different lodge in the Dickway Game Reserve, doing some work there. I spent some time at Tower Game Lodge in lockdown. I've definitely got a soft spot for Tower and its beautiful waterhole. I made some very good friends when I was at Tower, still in touch with many of them. Mama Poppy is still at Tower. Mama Poppy is my African mum. Got a lot of
Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? Wildwood Travels newsletter is your passport to a magical journey. Explore exclusive travel options featuring special offers at stunning Wildwood locations and all hosted by your favorite presenters. Don't miss out. Head over to our website and subscribe to the Wildwood Travel newsletter today and stay in the know on all our unforgettable adventures. Wildwood Travel, where Africa comes alive.
apparently there was some popping sounds in my microphone there, so apologies if anyone heard pops. And this is my third microphone I have attempted now. This is a rather large one, so I don't know where those popping sounds are coming from. I am due a new laptop soon though, so hopefully when that happens I will be able to come to you loud and clear on a regular basis. So yes, I was just saying about elephants with possibly broken or damaged tusks. I give, look at this little one on the left. Having a little drink, little baby. I give all elephants lots of space these days. I mean, I always have, but I think, to be perfectly honest, the older I'm getting, the more space I'm giving elephants. I'm not sure if anyone out there can relate, but you become increasingly risk averse. I do anyway, as I get older. I'm a horse rider, and I used to, when I was 10, 11, 12, 13, I would go over the common and jump logs and jump great big things without checking the other side, and I wouldn't think twice about just pointing the horse at things and jumping over them and all the rest of it. But I'm not sure I would do that these days. Erica, oh no. Thank you, Kelly, for your time and knowledge. It's an absolute pleasure. Erica, always lovely to have you along for the ride. And this says, I'm a credit to the guiding profession. Come back soon. It's been very enjoyable. Thank you so much, Erica. That's really kind. And thank you for saying it. It's hugely appreciated. It means a lot. And it really does. I really do love knowing that there's people out there actually listening and enjoying this. Shame, little one. You weren't finished there, were you? Oh, big boy coming. It's such a pleasure knowing that people like you, Erica, and everyone else that has joined us this afternoon, sending through your comments. Jive Bunny, who else we had this afternoon? Kate, Lady Macbeth, thank you for your participation and information today, Lady Macbeth. Who else we had? I'm just going back to it. Cindy, Alex, Mindy Tillipal, everyone that's been here this afternoon. I really do appreciate you joining. Sandy Franklin 69, all you regulars are most welcome, and it's lovely to know that you're out there with us. Deb Davis, you wonder if that's what happened to the Ellie with the shortened trunk. Possibly, Deb. Sometimes we will never know these things. I do really enjoy these sessions, knowing that everyone is also enjoying them with me.
Zatemba utatama na mina.
adventure of a lifetime. Wildwood Travels newsletter is your passport to a magical journey. Explore exclusive travel options featuring special offers at stunning Wildwood locations and all hosted by your favorite presenters. Don't miss out. Head over to our website and subscribe to the Wildwood Travel newsletter today and stay in the know on all our unforgettable adventures. Wildwood Travel, where Africa comes alive.
There it is, along with throwing bits of grass on their heads. Ah, those ones on the left are in size order. That made me happy. But I think by this time everyone's pretty much had the myth of elephants flap their ears when they're angry dispelled. I'm sure anyone that's been watching this for a while. Many things, many myths. Hopefully we have busted many myths for you. And I'm at the point now where almost everything that comes out of my mouth I want to question. Because science changes, information changes. 3 years is a long time in science now. Things are changing all the time. Taxonomy, genetics. What we understand about systems and processes, the depth of understanding we have on things like the nutrient cycles, cell development, vision, smell, sound. Watched a brilliant documentary on sound in the animal kingdom the other day. David Attenborough, highly recommended. Really, really good. I think there was 3 episodes in the series. We couldn't have had any of that understanding in that level of depth 10 years ago. Hello, Zibs. What are you hoovering up there? Looks like those yellow flowers are not quite as plentiful as they were a while ago. We did get a formal identification on this. It's Verbicina inchaloides. Common names: golden crownbeard, cowpan daisy, goldweed, wild sunflower, butter daisy, crownbeard, American dogweed, and a Spanish name that I can't pronounce. Anil del Muerto, translated as the indigo of the dead. Not sure what that means. But I actually got someone to acquire some photos of these flowers, and they're starting to not be quite such a sea of yellow as they were. I once helped to rescue a baby zebra from this waterhole. It was towards the end of the dry season. It was very, very thick mud. And show him a little, probably less, maybe 6 months, somewhere between 6 months and a year-old zebra. It wasn't teeny tiny. Got stuck in there, and a few of us, including the maintenance manager Lester, highly unlikely you're listening, and the GM and a couple of us went and helped this little one out of the waterhole. And zebras bite quite hard when they're upset, and we managed to scoop this thing out using various inappropriate things like tablecloths, and we didn't want to use rope so we didn't damage it, and we managed to help this zebra out. I got a lovely, nice, solid bite on my arm as a thank you, and this little thing was covered in mud, and soon as it could get free, we just let go of it, and it trotted off with a tablecloth over its back for 20 minutes, half an hour, until it slipped off. And then for the course of the next week, this thing was coated in thick mud, and we could recognise it for quite a while. And then the mud washed off or disappeared, and it may be one of the zebra that are still here right now. Who knows? Always lovely to see zebra around the Tower waterhole. Jive Bunny, thank you Kelly for another wonderful show. Absolute pleasure, Jive Bunny. Thank you very much for your insightful, thoughtful questions and input. My favourite parts. It's lovely to have people live with us here, giving comments and feedback. Trixie Rose, Kelly, you're a delightful young woman. Thank you for your time and deep love of Africa. Oh, Trixie Rose, that's made me quite emotional. That'd be embarrassing. Thank you very much. There is indeed a deep passion and a love for Africa that runs through me, and everything that it contains, the natural world and everything in it. So thank you, Trixie Rose, for joining us. You're always very, very welcome. And thank you everyone else for joining me this afternoon. Always a pleasure to see what's happening on all these wonderful cameras without having any impact whatsoever on the areas or the animals or the stuff or the things that we are watching. Beautiful vistas there. We must watch these cameras as the seasons start to change. This water will start to recede. The green will fade to brown. They have had good rain there though this year. Too good. I know there was quite a bit of flooding in many places. Let's leave this little guy and his mum to go about their Saturday. I'm going to leave you all to go about your Saturdays as well. Please, everyone, enjoy the rest of your Saturday or your Sunday or your weekend or whatever day you are on, wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining us. And we look forward to joining you again soon here on Live at the Waterhole.